Hi all and good evening. Hope you all are safe and healthy. I'm Dr. Amit Kumar from HRM team at Anviti. We specialize in provide subject matter expertise in managing employee health risk and organization across industries. On behalf of Anviti, I welcome you all to Anviti Connect. As we all know that most of us have been working from home and what seems to be very long time, and there is a chance that this arrangement could also extend further given the current situation even after the national lockdown ends. While this period of extended work from home is an opportunity to spend some time with our loved ones and work with the comfort of our homes, it has made most of us realize how our workplace design is compatible with our work and help avoid physical discomforts. So therefore, the today webinar shall focus on psychological impact of the lockdown and the ways in which people can manage remote working and stress and well-being. Uh, on this topic, uh, we have Dr. Samir Parekh, who is working currently with Fortis Hospital as Director, Department of Mental Health. So over to you, sir.
Okay, good afternoon. And I guess these are the side effects of modern day living, where we've been so much digitalized that even if minor hiccup happens, our schedules go all over the place. And uh, whoever the host is, if you could not unmute me because I don't have the rights to mute and unmute, so please let it be. Thank you. So I was saying that I just had a conversation with a media colleague who was talking about how the digital stress is also getting into us because of so much digital time that we are spending. And my take on this was that whatever we say, it's the digital world which has actually ended up being a pillar of strength and support during these times. Imagine if we wouldn't have had the internet and if we would have had a lockdown or a pandemic like this, how would we have connected with each other? How could we have even managed our work? Whatever we've been able to do, so on and so forth. So let me try and go through very briefly certain basic views and concepts that I feel are important for all of us to understand. And then what I'll do is once we are post that, I'll be happy to take as many questions as you have and answer them. So let's understand three anxieties that people are coming to us with. One anxiety is the anxiety that what if I fall in? What if my family falls in? Second anxiety is the anxiety of what if what happens to the future? What if something goes wrong? What if a doomsday scenario happens? What happens to job, pay cuts, economy, exams, so many things. And the third is how do I adjust? Uh, how do I adjust to this whole newer life style, this newer style of working from home, physical distancing? And once lockdown is fully done, how do I deal with a post lockdown life? How do I have the confidence of normalization? So look at all these aspects, and it all falls back upon one basic thing, that anxiety is natural and normal. Why? Because what we are facing is an unprecedented, completely unexpected event in our lives. And it has not only been unprecedented and unexpected, it's also come with its own stress, because we know if we fall ill, the worry of quarantine, the worry of health, senior citizens, children, all that plays on our mind. I mean, if I speak about myself also, fact is that even when I go to a hospital for work at Fortis, and when I come back, no one has those thoughts in one's mind. You have senior citizens at home. Hope I don't end up being a carrier and bringing it home. It's a very natural fear. So, how do we deal with the anxiety of the illness? We deal with the anxiety of the illness not just during a lockdown, but even when post lockdown life normalizes. There is only one way to do it, and that way is that we as individuals need to take care of all preventive measures to the T. Physical distancing, masks, sanitization, hygiene, following rules, protocols. Once we do that, we start feeling confidence. So rather than feeling that there is a confinement of walls, we'll start feeling that it's a fortress that is saving us from uh, an invisible enemy that could have affected us and our family's life. So I think that's one thing which is very, very important for all of us to understand. The second anxiety is the anxiety of an uncertain future. So how do you deal with an anxiety of the uncertain future? What you do is you understand first that whatever is happening right now is happening to everybody. So if you are a medical student and the entrance exam has not happened, if you're a board 12 student whose board exams have just been announced in July first 2 weeks, if you are somebody waiting for the college semester to start, if you're a person who just about started a job or were going to get a job, or you're a person whose appraisals got entangled in this, or somebody who's worried about the future, money, economy, we have to understand that across Chacha, across the world, impact is the same. Based on individual circumstances, we may bear the brunt in a different way. That's a separate issue about which we need to have empathy and compassion towards people. But what's very important is that we must ensure that our focus needs to be here and now and not on the distant future. Why? Because distant future is not in our control. Because distant future, we don't know what it will be. So if I keep on thinking about something that's out there in the distance, something that I'm not aware of, something I don't know, how will it help? What will help me is how do I focus on my present, my here and now, because that's in my control. There's a cognitive process called locus of control. External locus of control is things not in my control, internal things which are in my control. So if I look at internal locus, which is my own self, my today, my present, that's the way to deal with the uncertainty of the future. So what do? Positivity, productivity, connectivity. 3 things every day. Wake up in the morning, be positive, be productive. Even your household chores are being productive, and stay connected. Positivity, productivity, connectivity, here and now, one day at a time is the mantra. Now looking at how do you work from home effectively. All you organizational leaders, HR leaders, team leaders, especially for you, one small request for anybody who works from home, create a work window. A work window means start and end time is more decided, more rigid, so that work does not overflow into home space, creating more burnout kind of a situation. And post lockdown, what do? You restart work, you go ahead full throttle. We all contribute to develop our organization again, get the economy back on track. That's what we do. Both the times you follow all the rules. Both work from home or working post lockdown, our approach needs to be medical care, which is preventive approaches have to be taken care of. Make sure your work-life balance is on track because you need all the energy and positivity to do things. Make sure you don't compromise on safety. Make sure your connectivity with your work colleagues is spot on because it's the support systems at work which makes a difference. And support system at work is the key difference between somebody who does well and does not do well, because job satisfaction is not merely about the productivity or the task. It's also essentially about the camaraderie and the social network that exists at a workplace. Make sure you're waking up at the same time you used to earlier. Make sure if you're working from home, you dress up to work and then you sit at work from home, which means in your formal wear. And make sure that in your work window, you create a workstation from where you work, even calls you take there, even emails and all you do there. Then you come back, take 45-minute work, 15-minute break, 45-minute work, 15-minute break. That's how you do it. And you do lots of video meetings with your colleagues, lots of mails, connect, talk to people. And then when your work ends, hard stop, don't have it later on, so that now you can focus on taking care of your home and family members. If you have young children at home, make sure you spend more physical time with them. You give them more physical activity within the confines of their home. You give them lots of board games for cognitive and mental stimulation. You let them play some video games and let them watch some TV because right now that's the only thing that they have since they can't go out. And Lots of family time, family togetherness needs to happen with them. If they are doing online classes, let them enjoy them. Our focus for young children is that their routine should be fine, they should be connected with their friends, and they should have a perception of normalcy and do not get anxious and over worried because it may affect their long term life. If you have teenagers at home, give them more space. Make sure that they keep talking to their friends because peer support makes a very big difference in teenagers' life. If you have senior citizens at home, make sure that they don't go out, but more importantly, they should be where everybody else is and they should go in their room only during rest or sleep time. Lots of video calls you should be doing with your extended family, cousins, old neighbors, your school alumni, as many people as you can talk to. Psychologically speaking, video calls is the best, then comes audio calls, then text. So prefer video calls over all other forms of engagement because it will also help you not feel lonely, not feel isolated. The person you are talking to would also not feel lonely or isolated. Besides that, look at your lifestyle. Some physical activity, yoga would be very useful. Meditation, mindfulness, relaxation. It helps us, introspect, contemplate, and also feel some energy. Make sure you pick up a hobby. Make sure you pick up something new to do. It brings a nuance to life. It breaks the monotony of life. Make sure social engagement and family bonds are revived during these times. This is an opportunity. All our lives we've complained about not having enough time. I have so much work-life balance is not fine. I don't have me space, me time, family time. Now we get it, we use it. And put all of this together is how you deal with work from home. Now, coming to the last segment, post-lockdown, what do we do? Post-lockdown, first, we do not compromise on safety. My worry is some of us, because we felt shut and confined, may feel a lockdown opening as the floodgates open. That should not happen. Just don't suddenly start doing all the things that you've been waiting to do. Do only that is absolutely important because COVID is still here. We still need to be careful and we need to be productive and we need to be safe and we need to be happy. All of that needs to happen. So you don't compromise on safety. You do how it's supposed to be done. And yes, you put in your hard best. You pull up any employee, any friend of yours who's feeling low so that they can also give in their best. For people who have special circumstances at home, together as a team, compassionately support them so that they are able to deal with these difficult times better. And all of us need to feel our collective force working together. The collective force is so important. Remember, a pandemic is about everybody, not you, not me, not individuals, not individualism. A pandemic is about all of us, our interdependence, our connectedness. So how do we beat a pandemic? By social connectivity, social responsibility, collective positivity, altruism, and empathy. So bring out the empathy from the closets and bring out the compassion and positivity from the closet and let's go full throttle out there. And that's, I think, the right approach. Before I start taking questions, we've written 2 books recently. Both are available as free e-readers on Amazon. Feel free to download and read them. The idea was to spread the message. So for you parents, there is a book, 21 Days, 21 Ways to Engage Children as We Work From Home. And for everybody else, don't worry. Here's how you keep your mind fit during a pandemic. Both are Rupa publications. Feel free to read them. We also have a 24-hour helpline. Anytime you feel you have anybody whom you know is struggling, needs to talk to someone, they can call us 24/7. The helpline is available in 15 Indian languages. 837-680-4102. 837-680-4102. To follow more about what we do, we have a Telegram channel for mental health at workplace. It's called Fortis Mental Health on Telegram. Feel free to join us. You can give me feedback, stay in touch on my Twitter handle, which is Dr_Samir Parekh. I'll be happy to now taking your questions. Feel free to tell me anything that comes to your mind. I'm more than happy to take your questions.
So questions, please, if anybody have question. So I got one question, sir. That is, how do we handle kids who all have 3 to 4 years old and watching TV stresses their eyes? So this is the question I got.
So the key way for the 3 to 4 year old is that they need a lot of physical time. So ideally, based on how many people are at home, somebody needs to keep engaging them. Second, they need to experience a bit of physical fatigue because they feel a lot more claustrophobic if they're not able to go out. So let your bedroom or your living room become a playground for them. Forget about the how it looks and all. Let them run around, let them play their games. A little bit of would a racquetball kind of a thing would really help them. Also, what will help them is lots of board games. Read stories to them. Read audiobooks to them. We've also seen that art therapy also works a lot. So art therapy would be sketching, painting, reading, writing, poetry, music, dance, movement. These things help the 3 to 4 year old age group as well. And a little bit of if they want to watch their cartoons, let them do that also. Bring all of it together. That's how you work with the primary age group for the entire the whole primary age group. Yeah.
Right, sir. So second question is, how does one deal with anxiety at work during these times?
Two aspects, to be honest. Anxiety is normal and natural. We will all have anxiety. I also have anxiety. You'll also have. Because right now, the anxiety is not about a fictional aspect. Anxiety is real because the fact is we may develop the illness, so it's natural. And the anxiety is real. That what if something happens to the economy, my job? So these are real aspects. The only way to deal with it is you do what you can about that anxiety. Like for illness, you take all precautions that you can possibly take. For future, you focus on present. And now you do your best in the given moment. There is no positive stimulus better to reduce anxiety than feeling comfortable in the place where you are. And that's the only way to deal this anxiety. But yes, if it goes above and beyond manageability, talk to someone. Unmute yourself, but talk to someone.
Right, sir. Next question is, sir, does mindfulness is a good option to manage the stress during this phase?
Not just this phase, otherwise also. Mindfulness is a good thing. Contemplation, relaxation, guided imagery, being self aware, being able to control one's anxiety, racing thoughts, being able to be calm, at peace, content is actually something which is helpful.
So there is one question regarding stigma. So
Yeah.
hello, I'm audible,
Yeah.
sir?
Yes. You said one question around stigma. Can you
Yeah,
complete this?
yeah. That is, any hospital, if you have COVID, so some people have,
Yeah, I'm right here. Amit, you'll have to complete your question, please. Yes, Amit, I can hear you. I can hear you. We've had a bit of a light issue here. Please carry on. So you were talking about hospitals?
I'm talking about COVID stigma, sir. I'm audible?
Yes,
Yes,
you
yes,
are.
doctor.
As far as this whole COVID stigma is concerned, I've been speaking a lot about this to a lot of people, and I do understand that a lot of this stigma is happening because of the misinformation that is there in social media and otherwise. So people start relating it in a very stereotypical, very negative manner. The only way to reduce stigma is that I will not have it, I will not let you have it, which means me and my immediate social network, and rest we have to accept. There will always be 15-20% of people who may not be very socially responsible, who may not respond and react in the most apt way. You have to learn to accept it. As long as I try my best not to allow stigma to interfere my decision making, my empathy, that's the best that I can do.
Right, sir. Next question is, sir, how to keep 13 to 14 years children, especially boys, engaged during these times?
Encourage them to talk to their friends. Nothing beats that. Teenagers need peer support. If you allow them the space and encourage them to talk to their friends, engage with their friends, they'll feel a lot better as compared to any other age group. Also, encourage them to do a bit of household chores. Encourage them to also do a little bit of study if at all online classes is happening. Encourage them to pick up something new, maybe learn a new language, maybe do an online course, maybe some summer internship. Right now, I'm taking a summer internship for grade 11, grade 12 psychology students. And you would not believe I have about 6,500 students or more who have been a part of this two batches. So we have a 6-day program, 1 hour each. Immediately after your talk, I have these 3,000 plus children to address. And the sheer interest with which they come is unbelievable. It's just that I realize that all we need to do is facilitate their inquisitiveness and energies and help them go in the direction that they want to go. That's the best way to do it.
Right, sir. One more question is there, sir. What kind of minimum physical activities are advised to avoid back pain while working from home, as we don't have proper infra at home?
I think basic yoga would be a good idea so that it stretches your body well. Simple Surya Namaskar would be a good way. And if you can do some brisk walk within the confines of your home, that will be good for your cardiothoracic as well. Even if that much of basic we can do, that will be good enough.
Right, sir. So these are the questions I just able to see. Some more questions. So one question is there, do share the list of books for parenting once again, which you already told, sir.
So there are two books. One book, and these are both e-readers. They are free of cost, available on Amazon. One is 21 Days, 21 Ways to Engage Children While We Work From Home. So if you do My Name and Rupa publication or Rupa Kindle and My Name with Kindle, you'll get these list easily. And the second one is Don't Worry How to Keep Your Mind Fit During a Pandemic. Both these books are available on Amazon.
Right, sir. One more question is there, sir. What is the impact of watching YouTube videos on phone for a 2 to 3 years of kid?
Uh, Two answers. Typically, I don't like children watching from phone too much, not best for their development from an eye point of view and posture. Although in this phase, I feel if children can watch something and feel entertained and not be restless and uh, try to go out of the house, I will probably do a cost benefit and let them. I think in children's case, it's two things you need to look at: duration, content. Content is most important. What they are watching, please be very careful about that, filter it.
Right.
Quantity, give them multiple breaks so that you don't want the child watching something for 2 hours. You want a child watching something for maybe 20-25 minutes and a nice 20-25 minute break where the eyes get the break, the mind and body gets the break. So if you give a lot of breaks, that will be fine.
So how about work-life balance during the current situation, sir?
Like I said, the organization needs to help in making a work window. There is only one way to do work life balance when you are working from home, that your switch off time needs to be fixed. If after your work switch off time, you are still going to do some work from home, that means that your entire home will become a workplace. Mentally, you will never switch off. And that's really not a very healthy thing to do.
Right, sir. So I think my questions are almost done. So thank you very much, sir.
Pleasure.
Thanks a lot for all your time to give this all these advice, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you to all of you I'm happy that your organization took time out for mental health issues. As a person working in the field of mental health for the past 2 decades, when people discuss mental health, I feel that we are contributing to the society. For the decades and centuries old stigma of not taking care of our own selves and our mental health, that needs to change. And
Right, sir.
as a winding up note, let's hope we win this and win this soon. And one very important thing, never allow negativity to overpower you. Stay positive, stay connected, and on the other side of this COVID and lockdown, let's meet each other in the physical space. Take care. Thank you on behalf of Fortis
Thank you
Healthcare.
so much, sir. Thank you so much for all your time. Thanks a lot.